Hello there, and welcome back to Demon Souls. Last time we ventured into the Boletarian Palace and slayed the demon Phalanx, obtaining its powerful demon soul. Now we could venture deeper into the Boletarian Palace, but it would probably be a good idea to return to the Nexus first. Take stock of things, maybe pick up some upgrades perhaps? Who knows?
Welcome back. The monumental awaits the above. The monumental will explain the Nexus to thee.
Well, well, well. The Candle Maiden has returned.
The monumental awaits the above. The monumental will explain the Nexus to thee.
However, she's not particularly interested in speaking to us, not until we've spoken to the Monumental first. So let's go and do that. It's kind of interesting. This is one of the few times in the game where you're given explicit guidance as to where to go, because you do have to speak to the Monumental in order to proceed onward in any meaningful fashion. And so they have that whole cutscene showing you the exact path that you need to take. Up these stairs here, through this doorway, and so on. And yet, a lot of people end up getting lost at this point, and find themselves unable to find the Monumental. I guess in somewhat fairness it can be easy to miss the Monumental here, but they do mark them out with this candle, so... I suppose it's just a matter of different levels of observation.
We have long awaited you, Slayer of Demons. I am one of the Monumentals. We preserve the fabric of reality. There is something thou needest to know. Once, we too, a scourge of demons faced. In the distant past, under a benevolent rule, the world was united owing to the soul arts. Until a lust for power caused the awakening of the Old One. Across the land seeped a colorless, deep fog, and the world faced extinction at the hands of the demons. Thanks be, we were able to lull the Old One back to his slumber, yet only after the loss of innumerable souls, and half the world lost, erased by the fog. In order to mend the fabric of what land still remained, we entrusted 6 elders with 6 precious archstones. 1 to the king of a small yet diligent land. 1 to the king of the burrowers underground. 1 to the wise queen of the great ivory tower. 1 to the chieftain of lost and ill-fortuned souls. 1 to the shaman of the tempest-worshipping shadowmen. And the last to the great giants of the northern lands. The archstones were placed at nodes across the earth. we contained the Old One inside this Nexus and banned the soul arts. Finally, we became monumentals, half-living sentinels of the fabric of reality. Alas, the other monumentals have perished, and only I remain.
By the power of the Monumentals, the 4 sealed archstones have been released.
Now it is your turn. You must lull the Old One back to its slumber and seal it away for all eternity. If not, the deep fog will absorb all that we know. Have you the strength to accept this mission?
You can say no here, at which point the Monumental chides you and tells you that even if you don't, you're still trapped here, so you kinda don't have a choice. And interestingly enough, saying no here actually locks you out from obtaining an item later, potentially, so it is a good idea to accept.
Yes, we are fortunate indeed to have you. Now, go forth and destroy every last demon. The Old One, without demons to feed its souls, will a new servant seek and lure you to its bosom. We neutralized the Old One and banned the soul arts. Then we spread the archstones, and in order to mend reality, monumentals we became. However, man's memory of history is o'ershort, and before long he repeated his mistakes. The monumentals perished, and the archstones were long forgotten. And the short-sighted King Alant once again aroused the Old One. The monumentals perished, and the archstones were long forgotten. And the short-sighted King Alant once again aroused the Old One.
And people say this game doesn't give you enough direction. I mean, that seems pretty clear to me. Just go forward, killing everything you see. Have a grand old time. And definitely want to pick up this item down here, this Stone of Ephemeral Eyes. Let's actually have a look at it, because it is quite a useful item. It resurrects the user's body from soul form. So, as I explained earlier, beating a boss revives you from soul form to body form. That's why we're back at full HP. But if, say, you're having trouble, you're dying a bunch, and you simply can't beat the boss without that little extra help, you can simply use one of these and get that help. Do use them sparingly, however, as they aren't a very common item at all. Save them for the rainy day. And one last thing up here is a cool little multiplayer feature. All the way up at the top. The door to the Pantheon. It is only accessible when you're connected to Demon Souls servers, and that is because it is a record of other players' accomplishments. People who beat the game, as well as accomplishing various things. You can even see what they were wearing, a little bit of a sneak preview of some of the items we'll be encountering. It's a cool little nifty feature, and talking about the future games for a moment here, something they never actually bring back, which is kind of a shame. Although also understandable because pretty much everyone on that listing is a cheater, which you can kind of tell if you actually look at like the stats. At the very least, the top people are having beaten the game faster even than speedrunners are capable of. Because they got hacks. But yes, with our business with the Monumental concluded, let's return back to the base level of the Nexus. And talk to everyone. Oh, but first, let's make sure to do the important thing. And de-equip our weapons while we're in the Nexus. Doesn't hurt to do that. So let's see if the Maiden in Black has anything to say.
Brave soul, who fears not death, prithee, lull the old one back to its ancient slumber.
Eye stones temporarily connect the diffused worlds. Should you lose your physical form, remember the Eye Stone. We'll get into exactly what these do later, but suffice it to say, a little bit of jolly cooperation is not impossible between you and other players of this game. Additionally, the Maiden controls inhuman souls, allowing her to aid those who slay demons. And what this means is, if we speak to her...
What is it? Dost thou seek soul power? So be it. After all, thou requirest strength. Go forth, touch the demon inside me. Let these ownerless souls become thine own.
We can seek soul power and
Soul of the mind, key to life's
level up. This is how we raise our stats, by feeding the required number of souls to the Maiden in Black, for she is the only one with the ability to control these souls. Kinda have to wonder where she got that ability from, but it's probably not that big of a deal. So there's a whole slew of stats here. The only thing I'll say at the moment is just ignore luck. It's the dump stat. It is completely useless for 99% of people. There's like one fringe use for it that I'll discuss later, but even then it's not all that great. Everything else though is worth leveling. And as to what we'll be leveling, well, that'll depend on what you choose for me to use, because I have to make sure I actually have the stats to use that equipment. So that'll be something left to me.
As for me, I am only here to tend to the flames. I keep the candles lit and serve the brave demon slayers who are trapped here.
Oh, I just tend to the flames and also control souls like no other. Don't mind me.
I shall await thine return, slayer of demons. I am here for thee, and thee only.
Let's see if anyone else in the Nexus has anything new to say.
Have you met the last surviving Monumental? Those fools revived the old one on a whim. And now they've trapped us here in the Nexus in a desperate attempt to undo their mistake. It's all a travesty if you ask me.
Crestfallen is being ever true to his title here.
Still alive? I am impressed. This is something that might interest us. The black-robed maiden of the Nexus looks after the flames. She's a morose type, with eyes occluded by wax. She can control souls like no other. Bring her the souls of men and demons, and she will embolden your flesh and blood with their power. But beware. Do not devolve into a foul beast. What's happened? Have you lost your nerve? No matter. Have a seat. We can sit here forever. At least we will be safe.
Well, Misery does love company, but maybe later. For now, we have other folks to talk to.
That hairpin, that belongs to my daughter. Then she didn't make it after all. My dearest little baby. May she rest in peace. May I ask you a favor? Would you mind giving up that hairpin? I'd like to have it in memory of my daughter.
Sure thing, Thomas.
You're a saint. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, I mustn't forget. It's not much, but please accept this as thanks. I'm a bit ashamed to say, but I found it one day, discarded on the main road. But it seems to possess a strange power. Anyway, I feel that you should have it. It will be happier in your hands.
Why, thank you, Thomas. He really is just such an approachable fellow, isn't he? So, let's check out that ring, especially since we don't really have a reason to have the cling ring equipped at the moment, what with our health being maxed out. So the Ring of Herculean Strength gives you Herculean Strength. And what this does is it boosts your item burden by 50%. This is the stat that governs how much equipment you can have on you. Not what you're wearing, but the sum total of everything you have in your inventory at the moment. So if ever you find yourself overburdened while you're exploring, you can just slap this on and continue trudging forward. It's quite useful. Kind of a shame the only way to get it is to inform Thomas of his daughter's untimely death, but that's demon souls for you.
Hello again. I'm keeping a close watch on your belongings, rest assured.
Oh, don't worry, I trust you, Tommy. And of course, we are going to be dumping our upgrade materials. Even if they're in with Thomas here in his storage, you can still use them when upgrading at a blacksmith, so once again, there's no reason not to always dump those. Let's also get rid of the equipment that we're not currently using. Literally all it's doing is taking up space. There we go, much better.
You have a heart of gold. Don't let them take it from you.
Thanks, Thomas.
Oh, good day to you. I can forge weapons for you, for a fair price.
Baldwin is very business-oriented. If we don't have work for him, he doesn't really have too much to say.
No interest, eh? I can tell you're not gonna last long here.
Back in the time that I lived below Boletaria Castle, King Aland left on some strange business, then returned with horrible demons in tow. Soon, the land was ravaged by demons and soul-starved madmen. My spine shudders just to think about it. If I did not have my miracle stone shard, a keepsake of my grandfather, I may not have survived.
Miracle stone shard, you say? Color me intrigued. Oh, and there are some new arrivals here at the Nexus. Let's chat them up.
Oh, you must be another disciple of God. I too am on a quest to fight the demons in the name of the Lord. May I share God's power with you? Do not be bashful. We are both cut from the same cloth.
So, this disciple of God here can teach us miracles. Healing, poison curing, returning to the Nexus, and reduction in visibility. Sadly, we can't really make use of any of these because we don't have a talisman with which to cast these miracles.
A miracle is a heavenly act, but spells are the acts of demons, the work of soul arts. They have similar effects, and yet one is clearly evil, and the other is clearly good. Magicians, in the end, are mere servants of the demons.
Sounds logical to me. I won't question that.
I see. You wish to train yourself in stoicism. Very well. I pray we meet again.
Haha, pray. I see what you were doing there, buddy. I like you. What about your friend over here, though? What does he have to say?
I have sinned. I swore allegiance to Saint Urbain, but was of no use to him. And now I have run away and abandoned his honorableness. O Lord, punish me, for I have not the strength to punish myself.
I mean, if you don't have the strength to do it, I always could. Just saying. But yeah, that's about all he has to say. And there is but one more new arrival here in the Nexus. It's always a good idea to explore this place every now and again, because people do come through. You're not the only one on an adventure.
Are you here to face the demons? If so, please free Sage Frake the Visionary from the Dungeon of Latria. I will help you however I can teach you elementary spells. Sage Frake is a gleaming hope for humankind, but I have not the power to save him alone.
Frake's apprentice here is much more business-oriented than the Faith people. He just tells you what he wants and says he'll give you what you need to accomplish that, albeit at a price. However, unlike the miracles, we can't actually make use of pretty much any of these, and they can be quite useful. I'll show them off when it's appropriate to do so.
Frake is a great sage who systemized the magic of the soul arts to make it possible for human imitation. By observing the state of Boletaria and the demons within it, he's likely to pave the way for greater things. All the more reason that I must meet Frake as soon as possible. I see. Suit yourself. Just ensure that you rescue Sage Frake as quickly as possible.
Like I said, he is very business-minded. And for now, that's all that's new here in the Nexus. So, because we spoke to the Monumental, the other 4 Archstones have been unsealed. It's 4 rather than 5, because one is a little bit busted up there. Can't exactly use it anymore. So, we could continue to explore deeper into the Boletarian Palace. Past the huge Boletarian castle gates lies the cliff pathway, now a feeding ground for dragons, which leads to the inner ward where the knights live. Or we could try out a new location such as the Stonefang Mine. City of the Burrowers, keepers of the huge tunnel. Most of the stubborn excavators who supported the soldiers of Boletaria had their souls taken. Lacking their own will, they mindlessly continue working. If that place doesn't sound appealing, we could always head to the Tower of Latria, land of the Queen's ivory tower. An old man took revenge on the Queen by locking her family in a prison with inhuman guards. All that escapes the place are the prisoner's cries. And if that wonderful sounding place does not intrigue you, we could always head instead to the Shrine of Storms, the island shrine of the Shadow Men who worship storms and mourn the dead. Here, the storm beasts fly above, and the souls of the dead inhabit empty skeletons to move about freely. But if the Bone Zone doesn't tickle your fancy, there's always this last locale here, the Valley of Defilement. This damp valley is the resting place of those who have been thrown away. Overtaken by poison and plague, the dwellers attack anyone who wanders into the valley hoping to offer souls to the women who show compassion. So, make up your mind. Where do you wish us, me, Fran, to head next?